Okay, so coming back in for an update. It's about almost 10 o'clock. Curfew in the morning got pushed back from 8 a.m. to 8:30. We just got back from a meeting with I think his name is Dick. He's like from London. He's like in charge of our evacuation. Um, he was saying that we're gonna start like we'd be downstairs ready for our bags at like 8 o'clock. We can load up the cars, but we can't be in transport until 8:30. Um, by that time, we will know if the aircraft is secured or not, like confirmed to go out. Because a lot of flights have been delayed or whatnot. We don't really know. Like we can't really talk to anyone, but they can. Um, I've been watching a movie with Khalid to try to get my mind off everything. Uh, it's nice to get away from it. At the same time, I also feel guilty because I'm in this really, really, really nice hotel. I just had lamb and chicken dinner. I'm on my MacBook, and people are outside riding to, have more than 50% of more than Egypt is like only making $2 a day. Like that kind of kills me inside. Um, but people have been listening. We've been hearing. Apparently, people have heard gunshots. And we can see the street to Tahrir Square, and like mobs going in and tanks. But we have our little tank outside of our window, with like the four guys under the turret. Um, the guys downstairs left. Apparently that they were just using it as like a meeting spot. But there has been severe looting in Egypt, and our evacuation guy is leaving tomorrow to go help a family who's like outside of downtown, where there's no police. It's really bad. Everyone is taking anything that they can to like combat like looters, and like whether it's sticks or pipes or like they're saying people were taking like parts from vacuums off too to try to fight back against the looters. There was also a rumor that guys were riding around on motorcycles with samurai swords, trying to create like distractions, but I don't know how true that is or not. And it makes me wonder what's going on in Zamalek and if the people back there are safe. I think they're fine. Um, but our evacuation guy is leaving us tomorrow morning to go help. He said a Swedish family that they can literally like hear the people like looting next door, and they're like scared for their life. Um, but we should be able to get out tomorrow morning. Our flight's at like 10 or 10:30. We'd land at like 3 p.m. East Coast time. Um, I'm looking forward to getting back, but I also want to stay in Egypt still. Um, Hopefully, this continues to be a domino effect throughout the Middle East and for all populations that need to stand up for their rights. It happened in Tunisia, and now it's happening in Egypt, and it should happen everywhere else. It was also, I don't know if good's the word, but it was kind of good to know that like we watched the news, that rallies were starting up in America, in D.C., in New York, in Chicago, in Atlanta, and I think one other place, maybe in Seattle. Um, Egyptian Americans and people in general just standing up to say like take a stand, like well don't like go on Mubarak's side. And from what I can tell, we've heard some dude talk from America. We've heard Hillary Clinton. Clinton came on again today, I think. Um, and Obama's been on, but I haven't really gotten to see him. Um, and I mean, they've pretty much been saying little to nothing, besides put social media back on. And I mean, it's ridiculous. The one guy, I forget his name, but he was just saying that we're obviously monitoring the situation, the fluid situation in Egypt closely, and we're obviously doing this. And I don't know how you can obviously monitor a situation through which you have no communications with. And they asked on the news today to one of the reporters, they're like, how are you guys tweeting if the general population can't even get on the internet? And it was a very good question. They're like, well, there are ways to go about it. And I'm like, really? Because I'd like to know these ways. Because I'd like to call my family without paying like $40 a minute. And I'd like to, God forbid, check my email. Like, I can't wait to get back to America to talk to my peers about what I've experienced. And God forbid you can't go on Facebook for a day. God forbid you can't go on Facebook, not because Facebook is down, but because the government is actually shutting internet down. You can look at internet flow charts, and you see Egypt, and it's like chart like boop boop boop, and then you see Thursday is when they shut it off. It just drops, and since then it's just been steady for the past few days. No access on the internet, and I remember having trouble getting on the internet. Like I was on like Skyping with people like Wednesday night, saying it's been hard to get on, but yeah, Thursday it dropped. It's gone. But the landlines just went into emergency mode, and our phones are like, if you have an Egypt phone, like my phone works, but I don't have any money in it. It's okay though. I mean, I know UD has told our parents, at least where we're staying, we're at this really fancy hotel. And that's why it was kind of a concern earlier, because looters are going around. But traffic has been flowing right to Tahrir Square, and we have a tank outside, and we have the staff has been really nice. I probably should turn the news on a little bit again, and certain people I know in this trip might look at me and say, like, why are you watching a movie right now when we're in the middle of a riot? And you could be watching the news, but at some point you have to get away from it, and you have to relax your mind a little bit in order to keep sane and just to like keep level-headed. And that's what I'm trying to do. Even though I'm not really interacting anymore, everyone's doing their thing. A few people aren't feeling well, and none of us are really gonna sleep, especially if, like, once nightfall comes, people are gonna have been uneasy. I still don't know how the people of Egypt really took the swearing in of the new vice president. But I know that it's not gonna be enough. Egypt's not gonna stop until Mubarak is out, and I mean they should, like, they're like, if I were Egyptian, I'd be right there with him. Like, the man has had 30 years of chances, like I keep saying. And the news is saying there's like periods of anarchy in Egypt. Oh my God! And apparently they shut down the pyramids. Like, oh my goodness! Like, God forbid. But they were actually having problems at the Coptic museum that we were at. They were saying that people were trying to loot the museum, and that kind of breaks my heart. They were protecting Cairo Museum last night. The civilians were chaining, like holding hands, like around the museum. And the army actually brought tanks to the museum too, because we were there, we saw all the mummies, the sarcophaguses, the sculptures. There's like, 3 floors of just crowded in, like, history. You can't replace that stuff. It's what Egypt's, like, the birth of human of civilization itself. But the Coptic Museum is very, very important to the Egyptian Christians, and that stuff cannot be taken. I'd rather give them all my stuff than have like one piece of art taken away.